Hello and welcome to Kaizenergy Healing, a channel about different modalities, different healing methods, how you can kind of help heal yourself. There are many different modalities that are out there. I am a Reiki practitioner and I will try and share with you my experience in what I've learned. So way back in the 90s, early 90s, my mother studied Reiki. She started Reiki. She told me what it was. It was, using the energy from your hands to try and heal somebody. And at the time, I thought it was hokey, woo-woo, whatever you want to call it nowadays. But no, actually, as soon as I got under her hands as a body to practice, I felt something. Sometimes I'd be on the table and I would feel her hands over my body. She wasn't touching any part of me. And it would feel like there was an iron, for example, on my leg. So I did have issues with my knees. As soon as she went over my knees, it felt like there was an iron that was on my knees from the heat that was coming through. Unbelievable, just heat, just like an incredible amount of heat. And then I popped my head up and I looked down towards my feet and I saw that her hands were about a foot above my knees. And I couldn't believe it. Like her hands weren't even close to my legs and I could feel the heat like that. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, that was the start. That was the start of trying to understand what's going on with energy work. From then on, I figured, oh, okay, well, there's definitely something going on here. Unbelievable. The work is absolutely phenomenal. The energy that you feel through the hands, the meditations that she would be doing to prepare. Yeah, so I've always had an interest in it in some sense or another. So she did study massage therapy, so I was a body for that. She did study Reiki, so I was a body for that. And she did some Shambhala, which is a modality that I'm not too familiar with right now, but she did have that under her belt as well. So fast forward to recently, I ended up losing my job, getting divorced. Then I found that I had to do something. So the energy work has always been something in the back of my head. It's always been something I've been interested in. I did reach out to a peer of mine through work, only to find out that she was a Reiki master. So I asked her if she would actually help guide me or teach me, and she did. She ended up attuning me. I studied under her. It's the Sui Reiki practice. Something's telling me to come teach people about energy work, specifically Reiki. In regards to the Reiki itself, after I was attuned by my master, my Reiki master, things literally changed. Like energy in so many different ways of just different things have happened. And it's hard to explain, but I'll try and explain it. So when I got attuned, I was attuned by my Reiki master. Her name's Nastasha, so thank you very much, Nastasha. I didn't know what I was expecting. I didn't know what kind of initiation it was or what it was. She had me close my eyes. I was seated and she started doing whatever she was doing. I know that she was tapping me in different areas on my forehead, and when I felt the taps, all of a sudden, boom, like boom, in my face, I saw colors. I saw bright pinks. I saw bright purple. And it was like all just visually just so profound right up in here. Something I've never seen before. Never. Just the brightness of the colors and just the energy that I felt. Like I felt tingling happening from the top of my head down to my feet. Absolutely insane. I don't know how to explain it. Like, how do you close your eyes and see colors that are so vivid, so bright, and it not have any kind of meaning with any sensations or tingling feelings? Like, where does that come from? So I studied the Reiki with Nastasha. I kind of read about it online previously. I did the course online. Never went through the attunement. Learned about it until I actually got attuned. Once I got attuned, game changer. Absolute game changer. Where do I even begin? The tingling sensations, the energy that I could feel flowing from my head down to my feet. During the attunement, or even before the attunement, even before I saw the colors, Nastasia said, think of yourself as being grounded. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how to do that. So she ran me through a meditation to help get me grounded, and sure enough, I was able to feel myself connected to the earth, which was an interesting thing in itself, because that was really, I wouldn't say the first time I've tried it, but the first time I really felt something solid in regards to grounding. And actually I'm grounded right now. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So obviously grounding is important. It basically, it connects you to the earth. It connects you to the energy of the earth. Reiki is a universal energy. It's a universal chi. It's a universal light force. How else do you explain it? It's energy. Like everybody has energy. Everybody holds energy. The trees have energy. The flowers, the bees, your grass, the sky, the air. Everything has some kind of energy or frequency. And I don't know the exact term or the exact phrase, but Einstein had said, the future of medicine is frequency. So let's tap into that frequency. Let's figure out what's going on. It's an amazing feeling to be able to feel different energies around people and around things. Study it. I'm learning more about it. There's frequency in color. There's frequency in sound. There's healing sounds. There's specific frequencies specific to different chakras. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. So after I was attuned, I needed a body to practice on, not a victim, but a body to practice on, somebody to basically hone in my Reiki skills. And I was doing the grounding, and I was doing the symbols, what's necessary in Reiki. There's different Reiki symbols that you can use. So I was just using the level 1 symbol. As I'm doing my Reiki on this individual, I'm doing the Reiki symbols, the Choku-rei, as well as the Seheiki. And as I'm working, I felt an area in his body that I needed to work on, and that was on the sides. I was advised to try a different technique, see if we can dig that out. So I tried a technique. I tried the Seheiki symbol, and I made it seem like I had claws on my fingers, and the goal was to go in and literally dig into where the area was, or where my area of concern was. And as I dug, I felt a shock. Like I didn't touch his body at all, but I felt a shock. Like I felt something that went through me. Basically, it went from my fingertips all the way through my body, all the way down to my toes. At that time, I said, whoa. At the exact same time, without even touching him, at the exact same time, his eyes are closed, he's laying on his back. He said, whoa. And I said, did you feel that? And he says, yeah, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know, but it was definitely something. I'm like, that was very strong. For me, it was almost like touching a live wire on an electrical cord. It was like literally just pure energy that went right through my fingers all the way down to my feet. For him, he felt it on his side, and it was that moment where I thought, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. And that's where I really just kind of fell in love with universal energy. Like it's a thing. It's not woo like people say it is. I don't think studying Reiki on its own is enough. I did that. I took an online course about 6 months before my attunement. I learned it. I understood it. I understood the theory. I understood where my hands needed to be placed on myself and on others. It's not the same as being attuned. You really do have to be attuned by a master. And like I mentioned before, when you're attuned, you see the vivid colors, or I did. For me, I saw the pinks and the purples. It was so vivid, so clear in my mind, and to feel the energy going through me. it's not the same as just studying it online. So if people are going out there and taking these online courses thinking that they're now Reiki practitioners, no, you need to be attuned. And I'm so dead set on that. You need to be attuned. You need to have somebody pass that lineage down to you. I found it interesting starting to do Reiki on people. First 3 weeks or so of me working on individuals is basically just trying to build my skills. Obviously, there's your hands that can feel the energy. Lately, my hands are the most powerful pieces that I have to perform energy work. They call that psychometry. So the psychometry that I have in my hands, the energy that I'm putting through my hands, is quite powerful. I found it quite interesting that when I was connecting to people in my first few weeks, as soon as at first, obviously when you're doing the Reiki, you'd ground yourself. And after you'd ground yourself, then, you ground the individual. And once you ground the individual, you'd get a connection. And on that connection, boom, you'd see colors. And I'd see, sometimes I'd see yellow. Sometimes I'd connect with a dark blue. I'd connect with an orange, purple, pinks. It's it's so interesting because I would connect with those colors, and I'd continue working on the individuals. And as I'm working through different parts of the body, I might see different colors. So, literally, as I'm going through the heart, working on the heart area, I'd see green, the color of the chakra for the heart. I would literally on the throat see blues. Working on the third eye, I'd see purples. How do you explain that? I don't know. It's just okay, so whatever. You see colors, not a big deal, right? But then the crazy part is after the session, when you get the individual after their Reiki session, you get them off the table, and you ask them, how did that go? And they'll give you the feedback. I'm like, well, did you see any colors? And they would tell me the exact same colors that I would see through my third eye. They would say when. They would say what colors they were. And it was identical to what I was experiencing. So how is it possible that as I'm working on an individual, what I see in my head is the exact same thing that they're seeing with their eyes closed, laying on a table with basically they're seeing the same colors? How is that possible? Unexplainable, right? Absolutely mind-blowing to me. I think one of the most interesting parts about Reiki is that you can do it anywhere, anytime, any place. You can work on somebody that's not in the same room as you. So for example, I had a girl in New Jersey that I was working on, another volunteer as I was practicing. I've never met her before. I know her through an activity that I do. Won't get into too much in detail on that. But I know her name, I know where she lives, and her father was a Reiki practitioner too, but she never really had much experience with her father. So she wanted to try it with me. I'm like, perfect, I need practice, I need somebody to work with. So we set up a time and date. I asked her to set up her room. I asked her to light a candle, get some water in there. I did the same. I set up my room, I cleansed my room. When you do Reiki, you're cleansing all 4 walls. When you do the distance Reiki symbol, when you start the session, told her I'd starting the session. So we started, and right away I felt a connection. It got connected. I can't remember the color offhand, but I think it was like a light yellow at the time. And things are going well. So I had a little surrogate, I guess you call it. I just had a little stuffed animal that I was using to mimic what areas that I'm working on her body are. So I'm working on the body, I'm going through it. I got down to the feet, and the feet felt cold, like ice cold. So I'm feeling this on the feet of the surrogate, right? I'm not. She's in New Jersey, I'm in Edmonton. Okay, whatever, this is what I'm feeling. So just kind of let that be, tried to warm up her feet, trying to work on the feet a little bit more so I can get, some activity. Obviously that was an area that kind of got noticed by me, so I noticed it. So obviously I'm kind of trying to work on that area. Working on her, and then probably about 20 minutes in, our connection disconnected. Like, and it's not like internet where I was on video chat with her or I was on a phone call. I was in my room, no technology. She was in her room, no technology. Watches off. Anything that could kind of interfere energy-wise was off. And I lost her connection. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know where you went, but come back. Like, I'm not done yet. Still working on the session. So it was probably about 45 seconds to a minute later, the connection came back. So I felt her come back, which is good. So I just continued the session, and things were good. So I asked her at the time, are you, like, I felt cold feet. Like, your feet feel ice cold. And she says, my feet are freezing. She's like, I don't have any socks on. They're on the ground right now, and my toes are frozen. I'm like, well, I can feel that. She's amazed that I could feel that. I'm amazed that I could feel it. And I asked her about the disconnect, about 20 minutes in the session, but I lost her. So I'm like, well, this is what I felt. I lost the connection. She says, well, that's probably about the time when I forgot to turn off my phone. And I remember you telling me to turn off my phone. So I got up to go turn off my phone, and then I came back, which makes sense. I lost the connection, and then when she came back, I was able to connect again. So explain that. How is the energy that I'm able to pick up so strong like that I can pinpoint what's happening on an individual that's thousands of miles away, other side of the country, literally? I can feel that. She could feel that. How do you explain that? It's completely mind-blowing to me. Just it blows my mind. Had another session with an individual, actually not too far away, just out in Fort Saskatchewan. It was a distance Reiki session, and I'm in Edmonton. She's out in Fort Saskatchewan. I knew that she was feeling under the weather, so I wanted to try and offer some Reiki to her. So I started the Reiki session. As I'm using my surrogate, just a little doll that I was using to try and mimic the body of the individual that I'm working on, it felt like the skin was cold all over the body, not just in certain areas, all over the body. That was something I hadn't experienced before, so that was different. It's not her whole body that I'm trying to heal. Like, this just doesn't seem right, but I'll try and warm up the body and see what I can do and try and help heal the areas that I feel, which is basically the entire body. Didn't really think too much of it. I asked her afterwards, how was the session? She says, she didn't see any color. She didn't really feel anything. Said that, she's still feeling cold, still feeling her cold coming, which is fine. I'm like, well, okay, maybe something will come up tomorrow in regards to how you felt. So contacted her the next day and asked her, well, how do you feel? She's like, I have a fever. That would explain what I was feeling the night before when I was doing the distance Reiki. I felt that her body wasn't right. Her body was chilled. Her skin was chilled. I could feel that. How do you explain that? How is it even possible? I am not even in the same city as this individual. I can feel that her body's not right. The next day, her body wasn't right. Her body was coming down with something. I can't explain it. The energy works. The energy is real. Why do I have this gift? I don't know, but I want to share. I want to share with everybody. I want to let them know that things are possible. Like, you can believe it or not. That really doesn't matter. I know it exists. And, okay, some guy on the internet saying, oh, it exists, it exists. I have 2 logic degrees, a mathematics degree and a philosophy degree. So 2 completely logic degrees. Things have to make sense to me. Now that I've been attuned, things aren't making sense, but I know it's real. I know things are happening for reasons. I know that I'm feeling the energy. I know that I'm helping people. I want to help people even more. Yeah. It's amazing. It's crazy stuff. I had another individual that I worked on, someone who's sort of skeptical, who had done Reiki through my mother before. He was, I don't know, he's probably young, doesn't completely understand it. But I was working on him, and I did the same technique that I did with the first person that I had done Reiki on. I wanted to try that digging feature again. So sure enough, I do the Reiki symbols, I do the Chokure, I do the Zaheki. I'm doing my session. I imagine that I've got the Wolverine claws. I'm going in to dig into the where I needed to work on. And this time, when I was working on him, his eyes are closed. He's all fully relaxed, face up on the table. As I did my first dig, I did my dig, and I look over at his face, and he winced. I'm like, okay. So I waited a little bit, did another dig, looked over, and he winced again. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of coincidence. So I waited a little bit. I figured, okay, well, I'll try it again. So as I'm digging, I'm looking at his face, and he winced again. Okay, well, definitely I'm getting something out. So I went on through the rest of the session. I gave him his full Reiki treatment, the full hour. After the session, I asked him and said, well, this is what I experienced. Every time I dug, your face winced. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when I was digging into your side, I'd see your face wince. He's like, yeah, I totally felt like your hand was completely inside my body. I'm like, dude, I wasn't even touching you. Like, literally, I did not have anything on, my hands were not on his body, but he felt that my hands were inside him, pulling whatever it was out. That floored me. Like, I'm not touching him. And this is energy that I'm guiding. I'm helping get that energy or that negative energy or whatever's in him out. The weird thing is, I asked him after the session, how was it? He's like, it was okay. I asked him the next day, and he said, well, yeah, I was sore. I'm like, well, that's because your body needs to heal. And he says, yeah, but I didn't like it because I was sore. I'm like, well, how do you feel today? He's like, I feel great today. Well, I think that's just his body's way of saying something was up. He needed time to feel whatever he had to feel so that it can get out of his body and he can actually heal. So odd experiences. I can't explain that one. How does somebody with their eyes closed feel that I'm digging into their sides, where it feels like my hand's actually inside them when I'm not even touching them? Blows my mind. Worked on another individual. Again, not going to mention his name, but he was under a lot of stress from work. And I figured, hey, I'll give you a treatment. Like, just come try it out. So I give him the treatment. He's fully relaxed. He's snoring on the table, out like a light. After the full hour, I'm like, how do you feel? He's like, I feel all right. I'm like, okay. So I reached out to him the following day. I'm like, well, how do you feel? And he's like, okay, this is the weirdest thing. I've had the biggest poop I've ever had in my life. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, what? Like, whatever it is, it's out. Like, I got rid of everything. Like, it is massive. So obviously I have a chuckle about that, and he's laughing about it, which is fine. So obviously his body was holding on to something, and I think the treatment helped him release whatever he had to release. I don't know. I don't know what else it could be. There's speculation that, it could have been something that he ate, or maybe he had extra laxatives or extra fiber or something in his food. But I think it's the energy work that's doing what it needed to do to try and get him to heal. I reached out to him a couple months later, and I said, well, remember that treatment that we did? I'm like, well, how did that feel? He's like, you know what, to be honest, I didn't really feel anything. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, you had the biggest poop of your life, so obviously something was there for you. I didn't argue it. I just let him believe what he wanted to believe. I think there's definitely something there. Whether he'll come back or not, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll offer him another session, and maybe we can get him to cleanse himself again. I don't know. What is Reiki? Reiki is it's a universal energy. It's all around us. How do you explain it to people? Reiki is made up of two Japanese words, Rei, God's wisdom or higher power, and Ki, life force energy. It's when you are close to somebody, but you don't actually touch them, but you feel their energy off their bodies. It's like walking into a building, right? Or walking into a room. And when you walk into that room, there's something that doesn't feel right, or maybe something that feels absolutely, positive in that room. Yeah, it's energy. It's the energy that's in that field. Have you ever walked into a room and you felt that the energy or the vibe is very positive and there's just a lot of energy? Maybe it could be loud music or soft music, but the people in that room are just all full of smiles. And as soon as you walk in, you feel that. That's energy. Similarly, you can walk into a room and it might not feel that great. I went to a place not long ago just to see what it was all about. I walked in and I couldn't have walked out any faster. It just felt so negative. Nobody was looking at you in the eyes. It didn't feel comfortable to me. Actually, there's only two vendors at that time that did look me in the eye and gave me smiles. But all the other ones had their heads down. They were completely ignoring you. The room felt dark, felt really negative. I had to get out. I was probably in that room no less than 5 minutes, 4.5 maybe, and I was gone. I was out of there. Just couldn't stay. The room was just negative energy to me. That happens. You can clean rooms with Reiki. You can actually cleanse a room, and before you start a session, you should actually start by cleansing the room, just to clear the space, make the space a positive area to work in. Do you feel energy? Do you feel positive vibes off of people, negative vibes off of people? That's your nervous system figuring it out. Everybody's nervous system needs to heal in some sense. Everybody's holding some kind of emotions, some kind of history. They don't let it out. Meditating helps. That's another world in itself. Breath work is the first thing that you do when you are born. You take a big breath, and it's the last thing you do when you die, is take a breath. Breath work is, I think, the key. There are ways to properly breathe. We can get into some of those a little bit later. Do I know breath work inside and out? No, but I'm studying courses. I'm figuring it out. I'm going to breath work classes, experiencing it through people who are hosting breathwork sessions. Breathwork is very powerful. We'll get into that another time. In regards to Reiki, there's 5 things that you kind of need to understand daily or do daily. 1, you do not want to anger, so do not anger. You do not want to worry, so do not worry. Be grateful on everything that you do. Be grateful of everything that you see. Be grateful of what you have. Do your work honestly and diligently. Put in an honest effort when you work. And be kind to yourself and to others. Be kind to every living creature. They're here for a reason. They are part of the energy that helps this earth grow. And just be kind, for everything. I'm not trying to teach people about different modalities, energy work, positivity. People aren't going to heal for you. You have to do the work yourself. Things will be okay. Things will always be okay.